Itai joined the tanks unit, Shirion, and on October 7th, he was stationed at a base on the border of Gaza. He and his team were caught by surprise. They were functional, meaning that they were active, doing what they were supposed to do. Some people say that they are Giborei Israel, but after about an hour and a half, they were outnumbered and were captured, which I know in retrospect, when it actually happened, we got a message from him at 6:30 in the morning saying that the base has some missiles going over his head. That is not atypical to anyone that lives in the south of Israel, unfortunately. He was missing for a long time, and we did not know what was his fate. He was defined initially as missing in action, meaning nobody was able to physically identify him in the field. He was not in one of the hospitals, and he was not one of the deceased lists. And I am sure many of you are parents, if not all of you listening to me now. There's no adjectives to explain or describe the type of feelings that you go through, not knowing where your loved one is and not knowing if he's alive or not. And after a couple of days, we got a knock on the door from two Army guys, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's something that it's very difficult even more to explain, where we were notified that he was abducted and kidnapped. And ever since, we've not been able to get any sign of life or indication about his condition. You know, the energy just to wake up and do something, it's, you know, not human. We need this ordeal to end, and we need the help of anybody that's willing to help. We were blessed to have an open communication channel with the White House, where after 2 days, Secretary of State Blinken met us, and after 4 days, President Biden got on a call with us, which was supposed to last maybe 15 minutes. But he actually wanted to explain to us that there was no other more important thing for him at that moment in time, and stayed on a call with us for an hour and a half, wanting to explain, you know, where his heart is and how he put this as his priority, not just for the U.S. citizens, but for all the citizens that were captured. I also, when visit the United States, I go to synagogues on the Friday. Been invited to various synagogues from New York to Washington and other places, and we feel the love and we feel the support. And as a New Yorker, you know, what I learned from 9/11, we stand together. And that's also part of the Israeli DNA as well. We stand together and we fight. And when we have people like you behind us, that gives us energy to keep on fighting. So please do whatever you can to keep on supporting from wherever you are, helping us with the fight until we get our loved ones back home.
We got to listen to the Black Box and heard, you know, what they needed to go through, which at the beginning, a lot of chaos, was the Wild West pretty quickly. But they did what they were supposed to do, and then some more. At some point in time, after a few hours where no backup came, they saw the border full of a new wave of sailors coming in, and they decided to do what they were taught to do in the army, and that was to make sure that those savages would not get to the kibbutzes near them or to the bases that were near, and just took the tank and started making sure that they wouldn't get where they needed to get to. Those terrorists, unfortunately, they were outnumbered, and a tank is not supposed to be in close combat. And Hamas put some explosives on the tank, and that's how the story of this tank ended after a couple of hours. Unfortunately, in March, we were notified most likely Itai was killed on October 7th. There's no hard evidence on Itai. As such, when we were told by the rabbi we could do a shiva, we actually said we will wait until Itai is physically back with us, and then we will deal with whatever we need to deal with. We have some hope, small percentage, but we hope that maybe some doctor was able to see him somehow. Maybe some miracle could happen. And we continue to advocate because nothing after March changed Itai's status, which he is first and foremost defined as a hostage. Ever since the new administration came about, we've built relationships with them where we've been into the White House a couple of times with the National Security Advisor and with Mr. Witkoff. That has been very helpful, very open communication with us. And we just need to continue to have the international community behind us, as well as the Jewish community in the United States, and actually also all the US citizens should care about this topic, regardless of Jewish or not Jewish, because it is a humanitarian crisis for us, and anyone that is a US citizen should feel compelled to support us, the US citizens. And we here in Israel focusing our government that this should be the #1 priority, even before the dismantling of Hamas. And we need to continue the support of anyone that is able and willing to support us. Even in the United States, each and every one of you listening could be called to action to call up your congressman, call up your senator, and say that I'm a concerned U.S. citizen, and ask them, what have you done today to help bring these hostages out, including these U.S. citizens? The motivation of knowing that each day, he is suffering, motivate someone to try to put their child in a safe place. And it very much motivates you to do whatever is possible. And as stated, when we got the message and the meeting and they showed us what they could share with us, it dawned upon us that his status did not change. He's still a hostage. And we know that the IDF has the obligation to bring back all of its soldiers. And when you go to battle, as I know, when I was a IDF soldier, that if something happened to me, the IDF would bring me back no matter what. And that is something that we hold on as continued motivation to continue to fight for this cause, where it is inconceivable to get a notice like that and just have a kid disappear. And where is he? And it doesn't enable you to move to the next phase of acknowledgement and recognition. Like, we are still in the trauma phase. In order to get to the post-trauma phase, you need to pass through a gate. And a lot of fallen IDF families, victims, they have that process of, you get notified, you have a funeral, you have a shiva, and then you have a place to go to. And we are going through this psychological warfare and torture. Well, we're kind of like in limbo. Well, we don't have that process. And as such, it's kind of abstract. And my family has decided to continue the fight. There are other families that have said, you know what, I'm done. But I, as a father, can't compute, paths going forward without making sure my son is where he's supposed to be. And that's being with us, whatever physical status that might be.